Welcome back to Lost for Words with Lori. It's early. It's Saturday morning. Saturday, August 20th. Holy crap, I slept like garbage. That's kind of what happens when you live in an apartment and people are rude and noisy and don't let you sleep. And so, once again, I had to stand up for myself and complain. I'm not the complainer. Normally, I tolerate a lot of bullshit before I get so angry that I lay down the law. But yeah, I was sleeping nice and blissfully, and about 1:15 in the morning, my neighbors woke me up and pissed me off, and I was pretty upset. So that kind of spiraled me into I was awake, and then I went back to sleep probably around 4 a.m. I just read a book and tried to get sleepy. But, you know, I've been watching the interwebs, this week because I was on quarantine, and I tested negative for COVID. Yay, me. And get to finally go back to my part-time gig tomorrow, which I'm very looking forward to because I don't like being told that I can't do something. I think lots of people can relate to that. But, after the aftermath of more chaos in toxic cesspool world, I started thinking about, cult leaders because of our, situation that's been going on in toxic cesspool land. And it kind of brings up those people like David Koresh and, Jim Jones. And I was thinking about drinking the Kool-Aid, because I do use that terminology, and other people have used that terminology when it comes to falling into traps of, things that don't really serve you, or things that are negative or toxic. And, everybody knows the David Koresh and the Waco compound thing and what had happened there. And Jim Jones being, a religious fanatic who took a whole community of people and isolated them in Guyana and basically convinced them all to drink the poison Kool-Aid. And it killed women, children, men, lots of people because they blindly followed this man, this cult leader. And he was just pathological and a crazy sociopath narcissist. And, it made me think about, what makes people pathological cult leaders, having this big idea that they're better than everybody else, and they're preoccupied with this fantasy that they're going to be bigger and better and more powerful than everyone else, and they're smarter than everyone, and they know everything, and they demand all of this obedience, blind follow me, and don't question, what I say, and, requiring these people to just praise them and kiss their ass and blindly follow them and defend them and their bad behavior as well, and look for all the justifications to make it acceptable that this behavior is okay. Koresh and Jim Jones did religion. Other people will use whatever tool necessary to dangle the carrot in front of people and get them to believe that what they're doing is acceptable based on whatever the belief system is that they're following. And I've been watching the toxic cesspool world, that's what I call it, but this community for a year now. And I've observed and I've tried to navigate it and learn about the platform, and it doesn't come without challenges, and it sure as fuck didn't come without heartbreak. I watched people use other people and lie and create chaos and drama for their own selfish agendas, and we got caught up in that early in Toby's YouTube career, and basically said, no, we aren't going to do that. I had a great deal of respect for my man, for Toby. He didn't have time for live streams and sitting on panels talking shit, and he just chose to not do it. And when it became a thorn for him, he was like, I'm just not going to do it. And he just stood up for himself and said no. And of course that caused problems for him. People certain specific people didn't like that, and they created a lot of chaos until he basically cut them off and said, no more, I'm not doing this. And he decided to try to find a new, figured out new things and started to do, communicate and do collaborate with other people in the hopes that he would find more positivity and more people who were on the same page with him. And again, it didn't come without heartbreak, and it didn't come without learning lessons and getting involved with the wrong people who, just are victims and don't want to fix their shit. And when I lost Toby, I was already in therapy, and I'm still in therapy. And, I've been going consistently, and just trying to be a better version of myself, and deal with my grief and try to help other people deal with their stuff too. And I'm watching a group, some groups and some communities try to do the same thing now. And I'm grateful for that because, the signs have been there from day one. And sometimes it takes something very horrendous, like, the Jim Jones thing or, Waco or whatever. It takes something major to open up people's eyes to realize that things are wrong and need to be fixed. And, my biggest hope is that people will understand that there are no leaders, that everybody can lead by example of their own good behavior. And I'm seeing examples of that in the last few days that do make me hopeful. Still cynical, still don't know, because there's always going to be people who think their shit don't stink, who think that their opinion's the only one that matters, who think that they need to be right. And you can't eliminate that. That's just life, right? And I get that, and I understand that. But, people have an opportunity now to heal, and not drink the Kool-Aid and get back on track and create, for themselves a space, and be a little more cautious, and try to learn some valuable lessons from the tragedies that have happened lately in Toxic Cesspool World. So, what do you do, honestly? And I've been watching people come up with ideas or sit around and talk about what happened and where they went wrong and being accountable. And I get that, and I'm grateful, like I said, that people are owning their shit. And people are scared. They're gun shy. They don't want to get caught back up in another circle of bullshit and have it come back around and bite them in the ass again, because it's cyclical and you can't avoid it. And there are always going to be bad people. Always. How do you navigate your own social media is important, and how you stand up for yourself, and take control of your situation, your platform, your channels, your social medias, is going to be very important going forward. I guess I would urge people to not fight battles that aren't theirs. Choose your battles wisely. Yeah, you're going to make friends and acquaintances, but if you're holding them accountable and teaching them better skills and giving them sound advice when they ask for it, I think that's the biggest thing too, is, people are so quick to judge and put in their 2 cents when they're not asked for it. And that causes people to react and not respond. It causes people to get defensive. So you have to remember that, even though they're your friends, they have to learn to fight their own battles. They have to learn conflict resolution. They have to learn skills, and not everybody's good at that. But if you like and care about somebody, or you're making good friends and acquaintances on the webs, then you can lead by example. You can teach people better ways to handle conflicts. I've seen some people step up and kind of mediate some of those things, which is really a good idea. But again, make sure it's solicited. Don't just stick your nose in where it don't belong, because nobody likes a fucking meddler either, But learn how to respond and not react. Everybody's opinion isn't going to be favorable. There's always going to be haters. And not everybody's going to like you, and you don't have to care. You don't have to care. I don't care. There's a lot of people who don't like me. And that's okay. You don't have to. For whatever your reasons are. When it becomes my problem is when you don't like me and you tell everybody else you don't like me instead of just come right out and tell me that you don't like me. You can be civil to people you don't like without talking shit about them. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, then don't say it. Mind your business. And a lot of people just can't do that. They just cannot resist the urge to gossip and talk shit. And you gotta stop gossiping. If you can't say something to somebody's face, then don't say it to somebody else. Especially on social media, because you know what kind of chaos that creates. Challenge the mob mentality. Don't be afraid to just be unique and be yourself. That's one of the things that I love about social media. It's given me the ability to find unique people who are very different than me and be interested in what they do. And you can learn a lot about people and about life and about other things by embracing that uniqueness. Everybody doesn't have to live in the same echo chamber and follow the same mentality and live the same life to be friends. I'm friends with so many different people on the internet that are so different than me. And I enjoy that uniqueness. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody doesn't think the same way. I'm not going to learn anything if I don't go outside of the normal box and think outside of that box. And that's one of the things that I always loved about social media, was meeting new and different dynamic people. And if you jump on the bandwagon and drink the Kool-Aid and sit in somebody else's cult chamber, just blindly following what they believe and not have your own voice, you lose all that individuality. You lose your own uniqueness, and then you end up being a pawn and being used and being somebody else's patsy. And there's always somebody who's got to pull the strings for their own agenda. You got to challenge that. Don't be afraid to be unique and be yourself. Honestly, people, just stay humble. Nobody's better than anyone else on this planet. We all have good things. We all are human. We all make mistakes. I would just urge people to not get sucked back into that mob group Kool-Aid thing, because it does happen. And I get that there's a group of people who are bonding over their shared experiences and the use and abuse that has happened because of certain people. And we all have to be very cognizant to use that as an opportunity to heal ourselves, to look into ourselves, to see, what demons we need to slay on our own personal level that will translate into a social media community or a friend group or whatever to eliminate bad behavior and not enable it, and encourage the people to, get well on their own, to find good new coping mechanisms for things that might be haunting them in their first world, because that stuff translates to your social media world. It's sad that when I watched a lot of this go down, my first thought was, what made these people who are terrorizing communities act like that? That's the way I think, instead of, what a bunch of motherfuckers, which of course I think that too when I'm angry and when I don't like the behavior I see. But there's been a lot of people who've done some things that were questionable behavior, and I've gone to them and said, what's going on with you that makes you act that way? What's going on in your first world or in your personal life? To try to understand what causes those things and find some commonality there, and maybe offer them, when they ask, some kind of advice as to how I may have coped with that kind of a situation in my first world. I mean, we all have life experience, which is why I've been trying to, get together the things for my own platform, for my podcast, to help other people heal from the things that I'm healing from right now, for my grieving journey, for losing a loved one, for, just all of the things that I'm facing right now, and looking for people to help me with that journey in real time. And find that commonality. Everybody's got something in common with somebody else. That's why we choose the friends and the people that we hang out with and the communities on social media that we are a part of. And those things are important, but they're not more important than your first world. They're not a place to escape from the real life challenges that you have and that you need to resolve in your real life, so that you don't carry them on forever and they don't traumatize and victimize you forever, and they do allow you to learn, grow, and create a wonderful future for yourself. And that's what this has been about for me. And again, social media it's fluid, and at any point, if I thought that I couldn't navigate it, handle it, or it was terrible for my mental health, I'd shut it down. I'd quit in a minute. Do I want to? No. But my mental health, my stability, my life, my first world, paying bills, my job, my friends, my family, the things that are valuable and important to me are far more important than a toxic cesspool of social media platforms that tear each other down and create chaos and division where there doesn't need to be any. But just, guys, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Nobody forces anybody to do things that they don't want to do. Find your tribes, heal from your traumas, get right with yourself, fix your porch, don't throw stones, be humble. At the end of the day, that's the things that can help you grow and learn to be a better human and be a better version of yourself. That's my goals. That's what I want to do. That's why I do this. And that's what I hope everybody else can do too. I'm very proud of a group of people who can stand up and try to figure out collectively what they can do to fix the issues. And hopefully they don't fall back into the bad behavior of hate streams and drama, and they move forward and find the commonalities, find the goals, make the content that I want to watch, that your viewers, that your people want to watch, and grow and be authentic in your healing journey. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. I'm going to continue to support and do what I do. I'm grateful for all of the people who have spent the time to listen, to follow along on my journey. I'm following along on yours as well. I'm just tired of watching people hurt when social media is supposed to be about fun. At the end of the day, I'll say it and I'll say it again. Just make sure you wash your fucking hands and be a good human. I love you guys.